We continue our extraordinary journey, probing the sea's forbidden depths, its dark moods, its tempests, its fits of rage, its fathomless forms of terror. Our fascination overcoming our fears, we wrest from its depths hidden truths about life in the sea. This is the realm of our darkest dreams. Seascapes mean with a sawtooth array of predators. The grimacing barracuda, the marauding ray, the enormous sea slug called nudibranch, the giant octopus, and surfacing above these killers like a monarch is the shark. Scientists classify it, order Selachii. Mariners classify it the demon of the deep. Its natural habitat, the seas. Its supernatural habitat, nightmares. It is the ocean's most voracious eater. Its banquets, feeding frenzies. It's incredibly old, older than the Tyrannosaurus rex, for its family tree reaches back beyond the age of dinosaurs. It inspired dread, terror, in creatures long extinct. It inspires dread and terror in man today. It is all shark meat and black magic. To some, a devil, and to others, a god. In the aquariums of the world, angelfish, dragonfish, colorful coral creatures may attract the curious few. But put a shark on display, and the world comes to gawk. At sea, people fear sharks. When the shark is in a glass cage, they're fascinated by them. It's difficult for humans to dismiss sharks as just fish, however fearsome. Like wolves and vampires, sharks are totems spawned from hell as much as from the sea. In the dim reaches of man's beginnings, sharks were regarded as gods. There were shark cults, shark clans. A shark's image on the prow of a boat repelled bad weather and attracted schools of fish. Sharks' teeth were worn as talismans to ward off evil, to attract luck. From our prehistoric ancestors comes what we might call shark lore. But shark lore hasn't died out with the manufacture of the modern harpoon. It's still with us. Not only in the charms some travelers wear, in the belief a shark's tooth will keep them from becoming the main course of a feeding frenzy. But also in novels, where sharks scare us to death. And we love being scared to death. In man-eater movies, where the shark is the star. Movies where the shark is portrayed with little scientific backing as the most horrendous serial killer threatening people. There have been 3 such spin-offs of the movie Jaws. The last one so outlandish that people were rooting for the shark. It's said that the shark is to the sea what the lion is to the jungle. If we wade through the shallows of shark lore, coming eye to eye with the shark itself, we'll discover that the shark is as much a victim of bad press as some drowning sailors have been victims of a few species of sharks. The shark epitomizes sheer, primitive power. True, the shark is a sea beast driven by a bird-sized brain. But is it the shark who is a threat to man? While we swim through the sea of our nightmares, with pursuing sharks snapping their jaws behind, today, scientists peer at sharks with an eye as cold and detached as the shark's own. They admit that some sharks are the world's most efficient killing machines. But these scientists have gleaned razor-sharp facts about sharks that are as spine-tingling as shark action cinema. Sharks are mysterious. Sharks are from another age, another realm. Seemingly from another planet Earth. Sharks are old. Their history spanning 450 million years. The earliest shark, the primeval megalodon, was 50 feet long as a bus. Its jaws were so huge that when it opened them, a 5-foot human might walk into its mouth without stooping. Of course, there were no humans then, no mammals of any kind, nor was the air filled with birds and insects. Just a turbulence of warm sea-spawning nightmares. Here, the shark first grew its teeth. Today, the shark is as primitive a monster as it was then, and dreadfully misunderstood. Some sharks are the ultimate predators, the final link in the marine food chain. Killers, stalkers of weaker creatures, and a threat to humans. The tiger shark, the hammerhead, the mako, and the great white. Yet there are 300 different kinds of sharks. Only a few species have ever dined on people. Sharks are fish, true fish, but a very different kind of fish. Like other fish, sharks have gills. But unlike other fish, their gills are exposed. They're without gill covers. Sharks breathe by absorbing oxygen from water passing over these vent-like gills. Sharks are vertebrates. They do have spines, but no bones. Only skeletons of strong, elastic-like cartilage designed for sharp, full-circle turns. A shark's skin is lethal. Though it looks smooth to us, it's plated with sharp, teeth-like denticles that rip into a victim's flesh when the shark rams against it. It's taken millions of years for the most fearsome sharks to evolve their arsenals of weapons. The killer sharks have rows upon rows of these fearsome teeth, and their toothy jaws are not fused to their skulls. They're attached by ligaments so that these sea butchers can wield their jaws as slicers and cleavers. We call them the swimming noses, but this is more than a shark's nickname. Its flaring nostrils aren't needed for breathing, but for channeling water over sensory cells, triggering signals so powerful that a shark can sniff out a tuna in 1 million gallons of water. Half of a shark's brain centers on the sense of smell. Perpetual motion. It's a curse for certain kinds of sharks. They lack the air bladders that make fish buoyant. But these sharks must keep moving. They have no choice. It's endless motion or sinking as a dead weight to the sea's bottom. Had they the brain power to make a decision, their first rest would be their last. Sharks are found in all the seas of the earth. There are 2 conditions determining a habitat for a particular species. One is water temperature. Hammerheads and bull sharks like warm waters, tropical waters. In winter, When these waters cool down, we find them migrating closer to the equator. Makos and blue sharks like temperate waters. They're at their best in waters warmer than 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but cooler than 70 degrees. The sleeper prefers cold water. It's one of several kinds of sharks roaming the polar seas. Water's depth is another factor determining a species' habitat. Great whites like shallow coastal areas, which some unlucky swimmers learn the hard way. In all probability, the megamouth shark wasn't discovered until 1982 because its habitat is so far offshore in the open ocean. Many sharks are long, torpedo-like, gray-blue in color. For the most part, elegant. Picking out the exception is easy. The horn shark, or this standout in any lineup, the hammerhead. In shark lore, from Moby Dick to Jaws, sharks are monstrous. The truth is that most sharks are small. Half of all the species of sharks are under 3 feet long. A few measure more than 12 feet. And fewer still reach monster size of 45 feet and over. Monster size compared with humans, perhaps, but not when compared with baleen whales or humpbacks, the size of a city bus. Sharks reproduce in wondrous ways. Unlike ordinary fish, conception occurs internally. It's rare when even divers witness mating. What we do know comes from studying smaller species in captivity. In the vast ocean wilds, different species reproduce in different ways. The females of some species, like horn sharks, lay eggs. Others, like hammerheads, give birth to live young. Still others, like angel sharks, hatch young from eggs within the body. The blue shark, master of camouflage, called countershading. If you look down from above, the darker cover of the blue merges with the blackness of the water. From below, the lighter belly fades into the bright light of the sky. Almost invisible, the blue shark reigns like a thief in the night. Sleek as a 20-foot torpedo with long pectoral fins. Solid, round eyes, eerily dark. Light entering the eye's retina is reflected by mirror-like cells, doubling the amount of light, giving the shark crystal clear vision. Divers sometimes champion the blue, claiming that it's a gentler, calmer species. But who would ever take a shark for granted? Finicky eaters, cautiously sniffing out a meal before biting. Most sharks are cold-blooded. They have no built-in thermostat. Their bodies assume the water's temperature. As with humans, body temperature must remain within a narrow range for survival. As water gets colder or warmer, sharks will seek out seas with the optimum temperature for them. A long-distance record holder, the blue shark migrates the farthest. One tagged off New York was recaptured 16 months later near Brazil, 3,700 miles away. In our common perception of sharks, the great white is the most monstrous of killers. Not only because of its occasional attacks on humans, but because of its movie star fame as a man-eater. As horror with teeth. Unlike most sharks, great whites don't survive in captivity, no matter how large an aquarium we build to hold them. So there is much we have to learn about them. The showdown with a great white is an unplanned and terrifying accident or a carefully managed encounter. It's more than a matter of cruising shark-infested waters. Shark seekers load up for an underwater safari. Cages of reinforced steel, underwater cameras, deep sea devices, sturdy vessels cargoed with supplies. When all is prepared, the shark seekers set sail. They anchor near a colony of sea lions. Then they wait. It takes days, weeks, for the shark to find them. The shark seekers mean to lure the beast with mounds of meat. And that which entices it most, blood. Blood excites, arouses. The bait is set, the atmosphere tense. There's a breathlessness to their waiting. Stepping into this cage now is like putting one's head on the block. It takes more than courage to stand here, alone in the darkness, courting a face-to-face encounter with the world's most dreaded shark. Wondering if, this time, the cage will buckle under attack. Sharks suddenly appear. You never see them coming. You can strain your eyes, peering into the murkiness, seeing nothing. But glance away for a moment, and there it is. Heading for you. A gaping maw against white. Watching this beast approach with a demonic grace is an experience both thrilling and terrifying. But it's a thrill most of us will gladly leave to others. Eyes black as night, sizing up the divers. Body magnificent. Brutal teeth, fins like wings. Confidence, power, a terrible beauty. Nostrils contracted. The shark detects your scent. The perfect predator. No shark lore, no museum display prepares you for the living beast. Even the smallest great white could finish off a diver in minutes. With its taut, spindle-shaped body, the great white is superbly equipped to slice through the open ocean. It isn't intelligence propelling this fish, for sharks have very small brains. But they possess astounding senses of sight, hearing, smell, needed to strike at wily seals, agile dolphins. Hewn by nature 30 million years ago, the great white is the only fish able to lift its head out of water, just like the spy-hopping traits of the killer whale. Both of these predators keep a sharp eye for dinners, warming themselves on the rocks. A great white sets his sights on weaker, slower quarry. Though he'll shy from the sharp claws of a cornered seal. A momentary lapse or weakness. And he's there. Few survive. The great white is indeed the sea's super predator. As members of the scientific classification Elasmobranchs, sharks are grouped along with skates and rays. While many sharks hunt in open waters, most rays are benthic scavengers. They feed by vacuuming our bays and coastal shelves. But then, rays themselves are food for us. Their flesh is relished in many parts of the world. They have so much in common with sharks, these pancaked cousins. A cartilage skeleton lets them make the tight turns needed for quick prey-snatching maneuvers. Rays have survived almost unchanged for 300 million years. And over 400 species are found in seas around the world, ranging from tiny bottom dwellers to the giant manta ray. A 1.5 tons of wingspan, gliding through the blue like an underwater albatross. When eating, 2 feeding fins sweep water by the gallons into its mouth, from which the manta filters out fish, plankton, and other edibles. Sprung from nature and spurned by man, who branded it devilfish for its horn-like fins. Scaremongers claim that these rays squeeze the life out of divers with their wings. The truth is, the manta ray is gentle. It's often seen trundling a remora, a fish depending on its host for transport and scraps from a meal. The remora stays on board, secured by a suction disc. This docile giant even welcomes human hitchhikers. Assured that the diver means no harm, the manta shares its silent journey through the deep. The spotted eagle ray wings through the shallows of the tropics, its large pectoral wings giving it the look of a great bird. The stingray has a fearsome whip of a tail, tipped with poison. It can mete out a painful lashing. But it unleashes these venomous stingers only when provoked. Usually, stingrays lead quiet lives, snuggled in sand, snacking on stray mollusks. Rays, skates, sharks. All elasmobranchs boast advantages over ordinary fish. The ampullae of Lorenzini is one. These ampullae are sensors that pick up electrical fields so that prey may not go undetected. Obviously, the hammerhead shark is powered with this electroreception. He's built like a hydrofoil with the head of a hammer as a prow. Eyes are set more than 3 feet apart. Something like a minesweeper, he picks up faint electrical signals from distant prey, like the delicious stingray hiding under sandy covers. Sometimes hammerheads swim in schools, in ragged formation, probably gathering for mating. This large flesh eater, the white-tipped shark, prowls for prey. And often skulks under reefs, watching, waiting for the moment to lunge into a school of hapless prey. It's 14 feet of sheer power. This is the dusky shark. It often hunts at night. A sudden attacker, a born killer. Luckily for us, it prowls the deeper waters, for this is one of the few sharks that's acquired a taste for human flesh. The portly horn shark is content to lounge on the sea's floor. He doesn't pursue his prey as much as he lets it come to him. He gets his name from these horn-like brows jutting out above his eyes. This shark stays close to shore, bedding down among his favorite snacks, sea urchins. A scientific study of sharks is fraught with difficulties. They're tricky to capture, to transport, to keep in captivity, where they often refuse to eat and starve. The horn shark is an exception. Some have lived many years in captivity. They've become popular exhibits in aquariums, where they've let us in on secrets, courtship, mating. The horn shark's eggs are unique, spirals which the female hides in crevices of rock and coral. The screw shape locks the eggs in place. For 7 to 12 months, the female hovers nearby till the eggs hatch. Reputedly, the mako shark is the fastest fish in the sea. It's been clocked at speeds of over 60 miles per hour. It's a fisherman's prize, and it's delicious, highly sought after for its flesh. Here we witness one of the sea's surprises. The large nurse shark has a tiny friend in the remora. Each draws its own value from the relationship, known by the Greek word symbiosis, or living together. The remora helps clean the shark of parasites, a favor the nurse shark returns by transporting the remora and throwing it scraps of food. Patterned, dainty. This is the angel shark. Floppy like a ray, its pattern blends with sea plants and coral. Angel sharks are elusive, difficult to find amid the teeming life of the reef. Shark lore and the movie star great whites fail to give us a true picture of the entire misunderstood family of sharks. Take that prehistoric monster, the megalodon. The one shark today that can be compared with it is the 40-foot whale shark. This may be the world's largest fish. It may be bigger than a house, with a mouth wider than a river. But this giant, docile being gently, gracefully welcomes a human visitor. We're learning that sharks have a use to man other than scaring him half to death. Sharks are cleanup crews. They crop the seal pods and fish schools for they're weak, they're sick, they're diseased. They're vital to the ocean's ecology. Sharks don't get cancer, and it's cancer that's the killer of humans, not sharks. Scientists probe for the reasons that most kinds of sharks are immune to many kinds of cancer. And already, health food stores are selling shark cartilage as a cancer preventative. 100 million sharks are killed every year, slaughtered. 100 million. For vitamins, for food, for the supposed aphrodisiac, shark's fin, for soup, and just for the fun of it. The more we enter the world of the shark, the weaker its strength at the head of the food chain. For these primitive creatures eat to survive. They don't kill prey for sport, nor torment victims before death. It is not sharks who hunt down whole species or ruin vast provinces of their world. True, some sharks are the world's most efficient killers of unleashed primitive power that we can't control. Some of them. But the notion that sharks are a serious threat to man, no. It is man who is a threat to sharks. Beyond the forests of northern Pacific sea kelp, pulsating and prancing in each passing wave, waits another eerie sea creature. Ghostly apparition? Or alien ship plummeting the depths of the sea? This eerie mass of mottled skin, of fleshy bumps, hollows, and baggy head, this cyclops eye peering out from within. These are only some of the many faces of the giant Pacific octopus. Home is the cold, nutrient waters of the northern Pacific, in rocky dens or crevices. Endowed with a remarkable memory, the octopus can slither miles away, then easily return to its den from a completely different direction. The giant Pacific octopus, a jet-propelled predator, an artful dodger, but also a thinker, the most intelligent of the invertebrates. The octopus is a mollusk, a marine animal enclosed in a mantle or shell. It evolved in a terrifying world of voracious dragons, vicious fish, Instead of brawn, the octopus developed brains. And today, between these eerie eyes, the octopus has vast reserves of intelligence. Not so its ancestors, dim-witted mollusks covered by shell. They hugged the seafloor in constant fear of attack. Until somewhere in the dim past, the octopus abandoned its armor and grew eyes, a brain. Often called the chameleon of the sea, this master of camouflage mesmerizes prey, confuses predators, changing to blend with a seascape. Dodging danger, retreating into a hole its pursuer cannot enter. Skirting its predators with dark clouds of ink so that it can make its jetaway of getaways. Brash, bright-eyed, the octopus is a survivor. The mischievous darling of aquarium keepers, although catching and bagging these jelly-like bodies has been likened to squeezing toothpaste back into a tube. Each of the octopod's tentacles is studded with 2 rows of cup-like suckers. Here lies the source of the octopod's neural firepower, for it uses these suckers to taste, to smell, to wrench, to caress. Its sense of touch is acute. The octopus is a loner. It never knows its mother, makes no friends, and usually dies at the age of 3. The female possesses a fatal maternal instinct. She rejects the male immediately after mating, finds a secluded lair and waits, alone, for 5 or 6 weeks until her eggs are hatched. The rest of her short life is given to shielding, nurturing the eggs. Often a female will stop eating during this 6 months of brooding. Finally, overcome by starvation, she dies after the eggs hatch. Usually, a female octopus won't even make it that far. A dead body is often found outside a den. Her final act is to drag herself away so that in death she will not contaminate the eggs. With or without a mother to protect them, billions and billions of eggs are awash in the rich broth of the sea. Each egg is a potential new life. But even the barest survival is absolute success. Most marine creatures produce millions of eggs in the hope that at least some will survive. These are the eggs of the lingcod. Desperate to propagate her species, she has laid as many as 9 million eggs, over which she keeps a daily vigil. The huge mass of eggs is heavy enough to withstand the sweeping currents. But it will take a wary warrior to save them from this ravaging predator. The octopus is hungry, yearning to slurp up the rich, tasty eggs. The situation may look hopeless for the lingcod, but who could underestimate the power of the maternal instinct in any species? With no thought of her own safety, the female lingcod fights to defend her eggs. Again and again. Until finally, the octopus departs. For now. The octopus moves in mysterious ways. Suckers allow it to creep along, pulling itself over rocks. But like an air-filled balloon suddenly released, it drifts about erratically. Jet propulsion, accomplished by sudden contractions, forcing out jets of high-pressure water. Tentacles trailing fluidly behind, propelling itself with great bursts of speed. For centuries, mariners passed on tales of giant octopods dragging ships into the depths of the sea. 19th century novelists like Victor Hugo wrote of grisly fights between man and octopus. These are fables, but this retiring creature does inspire mixed feelings. Repulsive, cold-skinned alien, or fellow earthling in disguise. Far from being a sea monster, the strange, blue-blooded octopus is shy, even endearing in its wise, unique way. There is another astounding creature which thrives amid the cold northern Pacific reef. Graceful, ornate, beautiful. This is the giant nudibranch. Colorful, in gleaming whites, crimson pinks. Extraordinary fringed gills twirl and spin as it dances across the reef. Its tentacle fringes often cause it to be mistaken for a jellyfish. While the similarities are clear between the jellyfish and the nudibranch, the jellyfish is a different class of sea animal. This bell-shaped free swimmer belongs in a class with sea anemones and hydroids. While the nudibranch is classed with a group of mollusks called gastropods, or sea slugs, named so because they seem to creep on their bellies. In Greek, gaster means stomach, and podos means foot. But the giant nudibranch is no lumbering snail. It glides with graceful elegance, in rich colors and ornate designs that mock the ugly title sea slug. But here, where the exquisite and the bizarre are equally at home, nothing is what it appears. For this exotic creature is conniving, a lethal predator. Its bell or hood is a feeding machine designed to seize prey. It does not carry a shell, but for all its lack of protection, the nudibranch is a forbidden fruit for other predators. It may look delectable, but it tastes quite awful. Almost nothing will eat it, for it is highly poisonous. So the nudibranch is free to prey, and prey, and prey on sea plumes, corals, hydroids. Food that few other animals can touch. Nothing is safe if the nudibranch throws out its feathered fringed hood. Even stinging tentacles are useless, as the nudibranch intimidates its victims. Relentless, it even tries its luck against the giant sea star, which coincidentally is contemplating an unwise counterattack. In this instance, neither wins, and each departs to prey on something a little more amenable. This sunflower sea star is large, spreading over 2 feet. It is slow, but it rates as the most active Pacific asteroid. Though all sea stars can and do move, we don't think of them as active animals. But they get around on their 40,000 tube feet, clinging to surfaces. Usually an able predator, the sea star engulfs its prey with its ample stomach. But today it may have to go hungry, for these chosen prey, including this odd crinoid, are proving to be too swift for the sea star. The crinoid is a curious animal. It looks like a plant when it attaches itself to the seafloor, until suddenly it takes flight, swimming with awkward grace. Not yet ready to admit defeat, the persistent sea star tracks the scent of its cousin, the sea cucumber. These creatures engage in jousts as deadly in their way as any contests waged on land, for the loser pays with its life. Each bizarre animal fights to survive, taking chances daily, going face to face with death in the competitive world of the reef. Foiled again, the sea star may have to forsake its dining plans for the evening. Dragons in their own domain, few reef dwellers command more respect than the moray eel. Morays are snake-like monsters to their prey, beasts of fearsome symmetry who lust for flesh with vicious, heavy jaws, needle-like teeth. Divers keep a constant alert for eels when searching crevices, caves, anxious not to lose a hand to a hungry predator, hiding in wait for unsuspecting prey. Nothing instills more panic into small reef fish than the marauding barracuda. With its streamlined bullet shape, its horror jaws and dagger-like teeth, its piercing dark eyes. This lightning-fast predator radiates sheer terror. Into a whole school of colorful fish who scramble to escape detection, desperate to flee grisly death in the maws of the barracuda. They say that the sea is haunted. But it is only the unknown that haunts men's minds, conjuring nameless horrors lurking beyond the surf. Perhaps these fears are coldly real, where the sea spawns wonders that we cannot explain, creatures as mysterious to us as they were to Columbus. "400 million years ago, fish had few fins and no jaws. They bellied awkwardly over the ocean floor, sucking the nutrients they could muzzle out of the mud. Trillions of generations met trillions of deaths and learned that on almost any terms, life is better than death. Today's creatures of the sea thrive more effectively than ever before because weaker ancestors perished while the strong prevailed. As with humans, sea creatures pursue the essentials: food, mating, play. To understand the secrets of life beneath the waves, one must put aside the sentimental and wisely accept the ways of nature. These creatures kill to survive. They live, they die, and in dying, they bring forth new life. This is the deepest truth of life in the sea.